Good afternoon, Rams. This is Mr. Hibbert, your school librarian. And as a part of our series on academic research, today we're going to explore better online searching, more specifically, using targeted, more specific, and ultimately better search terms. And if you do that, you'll get better results. Right? So let's get started. But first, yet another plug for our Google Classroom in the library. The code to join our library's Google Classroom is S3VBGKC. Again, most importantly, reason to join, that's where we keep all the passwords and login information for our online services. When you use them in school, most often you don't need the login information. However, when you leave school, you're working at home or at the library or at a friend's house somewhere, you do need the login information. So make sure that you join the Google Classroom. Well, let's go. All right, so the internet is a big place, okay? And there are times, and it happens to all of us, we jump online for something, whether it's on our computer or on our phone, and 20 minutes go by, and we go, say to ourselves, where are we? I don't know what I was looking for. There's so much stuff out there. It is easy to get lost. And a lot of time we jump into Google first. And in another video, we discuss why Google probably is not your best search engine when it comes to doing assignments for class, for doing any kind of academic research. It's far too powerful. You get too many results, and you end up wasting time sifting through the millions of results to find something that works. Okay? So, how can you search for better information but not spend hours doing it? Now, the classic example that I use is a project on the use of cell phones in schools. Still a very controversial topic. If you type this into Google, you'll get roughly 21 million results. You really don't have the time to sift through them all. Okay. So to do that, one way to attack it is the words we use, and maybe we can use better search terms. Okay. To get better, more targeted, and ideally fewer results. So if we're looking for cell phones in schools, how can we get the information we want, but without getting 21 million results? Okay, so let's try it here. So the key is keywords. Okay, so we're going to go in here, we're going to type up a few examples, okay, and then we're going to try each one on a database. So our first one is cell phones in schools. And then let's do, because you're on high school, let's do cell phones in high schools. Okay, let's spell that correctly. That would be fantastic. There we go. Let's see, how about in the United States here, how about cell phones, CL, in United States high. Schools. Okay. So remember those three. We're going to go now into a database and see the results that we get. Hopefully you'll see that they are lower in number. Okay. So we'll see what our lesson is here. So how do we get to a database? Let's open up a new tab. I have the Rockville High School website already bookmarked, so I'll click on that. And then next we'll go to library. And then let's select research. Now, my favorite search engine is this one right here, Academic Search Complete. So we're going to use that. There are others that are fine. I just like using this one. Here is now, we're getting a pop-up window here for login information. When you're in school, you don't need it. However, when you're out of school, you do need login information for most of our databases. Our login information is here. Look at that, Rockville Rams. And then our password is RHS-20. All that login information is listed in our Google Classroom. All right, so let's get into this database. All right, so we have our three sets of search terms we're going to use. So if you remember those, maybe you can jot down a few numbers here. Cell phones in school. So that was our first one. So we selected that. And at the top, you see the number is roughly 6,471. Okay. Now, so well, if I'm looking at 6,000, let's see, our next search term phrase was cell phones in high school. So let's switch up here. We'll switch out to high school. Let's select that. Let's see what pops up. 1,000 right here. 1,358. All right, can we narrow this down a little bit more? Let's clean up that space there. How about cell phones in United States high school? Click on that. Now we're down to 442. Okay, so we've gone from 6,400 down to 442 just by using better search terms. Okay, so let's go back to where we were before. Okay, so here we had roughly 6,000, and then here we had roughly 1,300, and our number here was 442. So what is the lesson here? The lesson here is if you get too many results and you want to narrow or lower the number, okay, put in more narrowed search terms. So instead of a generic cell phones in school, we went to cell phones in high school, then further narrowed it to cell phones in United States high schools, okay, 442. In another video that you have access to, we go into limiters, the use of limiters in databases, and we could probably get that 442 down even lower, okay? But you see here the power of your search terms and why it's important, okay, to have options when you make your search terms up, okay? Here's another way that you can narrow your search terms. So you can use an exact phrase. Okay, now when you type in cell phones in high school, it searches for those 4 words. Okay, however, if you type this in here, watch what I type in here. If you type in quotation mark cell phones in school, it will search for that phrase exactly as it's written. Those 4 words in that order. That will help you narrow it down. Okay. So the first lesson was synonyms, come up with more search terms, more narrowed search terms. Our second lesson is use quotation marks. Okay. And that will help you narrow the search down as well. Okay. Let's get out of here. Next, the all-powerful asterisk. There are times when you're using words, usually when you're using larger words, that you want to say, give me anything related to that word. Okay, so this is a good example here. If you're doing something on people your age, teens. Now, some people use the word teens, other people use someone that is teenage or teenaged, and some people use the word teenager. So you don't have to type it in 3 separate times. If you just type in the word teen and put an asterisk after that, and an asterisk on your keyboard is the capital 8, okay, it will search for the root teen in anything that has the root teen. So I'll search for teens, teenage, and teenager. So that's another quick tip that can help you with your search. Here's another one, the word and, okay? So there are times when you have a very wide topic and you want to narrow it a bit. So on our example here, it says middle school and cell phones. So when you type in cell phones in schools, okay, if that's too many words, you can just simply type in middle school, and cell phones. And it will bring back articles that have the expression middle school and the expression cell phones in the same article. So sometimes you may want to focus even more. So that's just a different way. Some people call this Boolean searching, okay? Words like and or not, okay? So right now we gave the example of using the word not or and, excuse me, okay? Now, where are we here? Here we are. Some people, or sometimes you can use the word or. Okay, this will broaden your search and give you more results. So, what you're asking the computer here is give me articles with the phrase middle school or the phrase cell phones in it. Okay, so that I would use that when I'm getting too few results. I will use the word or, and you'll get more results. Very powerful. Okay. Now, this is a different one. You use the word not when there are multiple and different meanings for a word. Okay. So, for example, down here, you see if you were doing a report on the bird, the Oriole, okay, but you didn't want results that had anything to do with the Baltimore Orioles or anything to do with baseball, you would type in the search field Oriole, and then the word not, Oriole, not baseball. So to exclude any website with the word baseball in it. That's another kind of a neat tool you can use to get better search results, right? So let's try to. So for example, let's just say you were doing some research on crime, okay? Now, my suggestion is before you actually do it online, you'll take out a sheet of scrap paper and a pencil and just jot down some search terms. Okay, so let's do that right here on the screen for you. So let's start with crime. Now, what are some words that sound like crime? If you, let's say, you wanted to do a presentation or research on what's going on in jails, you're interested in jail reform and so forth. So I'd say, okay, crime. Okay, that was a good word. Reform, I heard myself say. So let's say criminal reform. How about criminal justice? Okay. You might even put the two together, criminal justice reform. Okay, that's another way that you could search. Maybe you want to look at laws that were passed to help criminal justice reform. So you would type a search for criminal justice reform laws. Okay, getting fancy here. What's another word for laws? Is legislation. Okay, that's another word you could search for. Let's see. What's another word for jail? Talk about crime, and how about prison? And you can probably take prison and go up here and do prison reform laws, or legislation. So if you have options, okay, search term options, you'll get better results because you're empowering the internet to go out and search for different things, whether you're using an academic database or whether you're using Google. Knowing your search term options is a pretty powerful tool to have. So whether you want to use the word and or do what we did here, make up a search or make up a list of different search terms or your search term options, you'll do a much better job at getting good results and results that you can use in your on your assignments. Okay, so if you have any questions about using search terms or using search terms in a more effective manner, just email me right here. Email Mr. Hibbert here at timothy.c.hibbert@mcpsmd.net. Good luck with your research.